Opioid epidemic has a ripple effect on the users' lives and their families. But what's it like growing up with parents who are addicts?
Across the nation, toddlers and teens are flooding our foster care system. Eyewitness News reporter Haley Bianco looks into how children are coping. She joins us live in our studio with what she's learned. Haley?
Nick, the opioid epidemic has created an increase of children in crisis in our area. Parents addicted to drugs, too distracted to care for their kids. So the community has to step in. We've seen these horrifying photos floating around social media. Parents overdosing with a child in the back of their car. But what about those children living day in and day out with addicts for parents? Do they get to ride a bike, go to the park, or even eat dinner? Jessica Tyler, a mom of 2 girls, is now in recovery for nearly 6 years. She was hooked on heroin and crack cocaine for 2 years. At the time, her oldest daughter, Sophia, was just 4.
I knew in the back of my mind I was in no way, shape, or form able to be a mother at that time in my life.
Jessica recognized that she couldn't care for her daughter.
I gave her to her father because I knew I was losing control.
Other kids aren't so lucky. If both parents are caught up in drugs, the police and Children and Youth Services step in. In Columbia County, the statistics are staggering. April Miller, the Director of Child and Youth Services in Bloomsburg, tells me they're seeing a huge increase in placements due to drug use. In 2012, 44% of children in placement came into care because of drug issues. 4 years later, in 2017, it jumped to 65% of kids in care having some connection to drugs. Some parents are good at hiding their addiction, and their kids go undetected and sometimes forgotten. To make sure no child goes hungry, the Berwick Area School District offers free meals during the week and on weekends.
We provide 4,000 meals every weekend.
For some parents, money for food becomes money for drugs.
The parents' sins aren't our concern. Hungry children are.
Hutton tells me a big part of the increase in demand coincides with the drug epidemic. When he brought the program to Berwick 6 years ago, 20 children took home meals. Now they feed more than 500 every weekend.
There's a lot of responsibility on students that are so young, and they're just big adult responsibilities that they're not ready to deal with.
Hutton works with the local charity Asmata, which partners with the school district and the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. A bag of food costs them 30 cents. Hutton brings the cases of food to the school once a week, and special needs students package up the weekend meals for their peers in need.
We really want them to go home on the weekends and try to relax. If you find yourself, and as a lot of our children do, in a bad home environment, we really want them to have a little bit of a crutch, a pacifier, if you will, between hunger and just the negative things that they're going through in their day.
If you're wondering why there are no canned items, Hutton says that's because that can get heavy for a little kid to carry home. Instead, they pack lighter items like ramen noodles. But there's an important message for these children.
We realize that the child is never at fault.
I couldn't even look in the mirror at myself knowing what I did.
Jessica says fixing her life wasn't easy, saying it took years to prove she was ready to be the mom her daughter deserved. Sophia lived with her dad for 5 years, but now lives with her, and she works every day to stay a drug-free parent. And 3 months ago, Jessica gave birth to another baby girl, Caroline.
It's amazing to actually be a mother again.
For Jessica and her daughters, it's a happy ending. But for many kids, they lose their parents to drugs, whether that means prison or death. That's why programs like the Weekend Food Program in Berwick are so important to keep kids going. Live in the studio, Haley Bianco, Eyewitness News.
Well, Jessica's story is pretty inspiring. Haley, thanks. Now, with that Weekend Food Program, families may receive as many food bags as they have children.
And during the week, every child is entitled to free breakfast and lunch at the school, and there are summer food programs for the kids in need.
Stay with us. Eyewitness News at 5:30 starts right after the break.